Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Monroe Martin Podcast. I got two great guests on this time. I got Hannah Roeschlein. You've seen her at the stand. You're from Indianapolis, correct?
Correct, Indiana.
I was about Indiana.
So Cornfields, Indiana.
I was about to say Chicago. I don't know why in my mind.
I live in Chicago still.
All right.
You're getting it.
I'm getting close, y'all.
I'm a wiggling.
She's wiggling. And then we got Onika McLean.
Brooklyn.
She's from Brooklyn via North Carolina. I had to throw the North Carolina thing in there because you also grew up in the field, probably, right?
A little bit, like until I was 8.
To 8?
Yeah.
Because you was catching fireflies and all that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would live with an old lady. I lived with my grandmother, so you know how that was. I was just in the front yard.
Just getting switches and shit?
Yeah,
getting
going
your
to
ass
get your
beat.
own switch. That's so crazy to get
Your mom did that too?
My Asian mom wasn't tall enough to get a switch out of a tree, but she would wait for my dad to get home, and then we'd get whooped.
Yeah.
Not me so much. I wasn't like misbehaving as badly, but I definitely got swatted.
Are you the oldest or the youngest?
Oldest.
Oh. You evaded ass whoopings? That's good. Usually it's the oldest get all the ass whoopings.
Yeah, I'm the oldest. I got all of them.
Yeah.
I catch all the hands. Pop, 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 pop.
You the fucking test dummy.
I was well behaved as the oldest of mine until I left for college. Like mom is Asian, my dad is the pastor of a church.
Oh, so he definitely was whooping ass.
Still is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a word of God thumping across. You know,
Yeah,
the KJV for your bitch ass. Thee, thou, get in here. I remember Dad used to be like, when he'd spank, he'd be like, you know, I do this because I love you, and I'd just be in there like, this.
You'd be like, that's a lie.
That's what
Freudian bullshit.
That's what racists say. Yeah. Do you think a part of them just was going extra hard because you Asian?
I mean, to be honest, who can know, Monroe?
That's hilarious.
We all carry these implicit biases, and I just don't know what Dad was on. He was just correcting us, but I behaved, and then I got out of the house, and then I started.
And then you started wilding
Turning
out.
up.
For sure.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
It's usually the church kids that
PKs,
they,
boy.
yeah, they get out there
Whores.
and they just
Were you being a whore?
No doubt about it.
I could tell.
Still am. What are you going to do? Like glue my, they basically tried to glue my fortune cookie shut with guilt. And then as soon as I got to IU, I cracked that bitch open and I've been spouting out.
But you don't have the guilt ever. You still have the guilt. I have the guilt.
Well,
Why do you got the guilt? What do you mean guilt? Religious
The
guilt or
religious
coochie guilt?
The religious guilt. It's like God don't want you just busting it open for a real one.
Why not?
Because he
especially
said
a real one. Where did he say don't bust it open? Where does God say in the Bible
He said the do not defile the marital bed.
Yeah, he's saying wait to be married.
Right.
But marriage comes in all forms.
No, what?
Yeah, you don't have to have a ceremony. You can just be like, yo, we committed to each other. I'm married to you in my heart.
No, that's not how the law works. Like it says, render to Caesar what is Caesar, which means
law and God are two different things.
Right, separation of church and state.
Yeah, I believe that. I don't yeah.
I don't think they have any commonality anymore. Now that I believe in God more than ever, which is a wild thing to say given, my set list and some of the things that I do and am. However, I say this with full conviction. Once I finally kind of deconstructed God into understanding like that divine intelligence is so much bigger than the entire universe, so there's not a goddamn chance, literally, that person or entity could be sitting around and
thinking about your vagina.
Concerned about my HPV or John Benet Ramsey bits. Like it's an impossibility. There's just simply not, it ain't the vibes. And, actually now kind of like even getting into a place where I feel good sexually and just understanding, that's a wellspring of God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So how often do you have sex?
As much as she can.
Really?
I don't know.
Me on me a little bit more than me on anyone else.
I'm tired of me on me.
Masturbation don't count though.
No, I was trying to masturbate yesterday. I was like, what's it all for? I just put it away. I was like, I'm sick of this shit. I need to just go
then
get
you
something.
should. I'm on that spiritual shit too though. You got to put that energy towards something.
Yeah.
That sexual energy that you get where you're like, I feel like rubbing one out.
Yeah.
Just take that energy and then put it towards something else.
Write some jokes instead.
Write some jokes, watch some videos, just write down your thoughts when you start getting, what is it, transmutation?
Transsexual transmutation.
Yeah, when you start fucking taking that energy and just putting it somewhere else.
It'll do stuff.
Yeah.
That's true. Maybe I should, because I should start busting. Yeah, that's right. You got to like hold it in.
Yeah, hold that shit in.
And make it do something else. You know,
For
that's
sure.
all.
Yeah,
It makes it way, way better when it finally is.
But it is very frustrating when it's not. Like, I'm not nice. I'm not nice oftentimes. I'm like, damn, why did I say that to that person? I'll be apologizing and shit.
What do you mean? You're mean
Yeah, a little mean.
to everyone, or just guys that you're interested in?
No,
You're like,
just, you know how I do, Monroe. Like,
you've never been mean to me.
I mean, sometimes I say stuff. Remember we were talking about something? I was like, that's why you was.
Oh
that's
yeah,
why
you came at me in the foster kid way, but I never get offended. I'm like,
I know, but that was
yeah.
I was like, that's why you a foster kid. He was like, what? How does it have to do with anything that's going on? I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we were downstairs, we were talking about jokes, and then she tried
They
to
were calling
know
me
you.
old. Don't try to act like what's going on.
Nah. She was trying to, we were all sitting around powwowing about funny shit. And then she tried to pull the woman card because everybody took a piece. And like everybody was like, oh, that's funny. You know when like you're sitting around and you're all like dissecting.
Constructing.
Constructing. And then you're like, oh, you say something and you're like, oh. All right, that's funny. I'm gonna take that part. And then she wanted the whole fucking pie.
I did not want the whole pie.
She wanted the whole pie.
I added mad joke structure to the joke. I added so many different. I was a little bit high, so I might have not added anything. But
No,
It's probably my fault. I tend to roll down there, as you know, and go, hey.
I think that I was adding mad value, and then at the end, I didn't think that I was going to get back what I put in, and then I just got pissed off, and then I just started attacking.
Yeah,
verbally.
she was like, it's because I'm a woman. It's like, no, take the bit that you thought, take whatever you want.
Do you know I don't remember?
I don't even remember, but I remember the scenario.
It was good.
I'm
though.
getting better about it in those high situations or just in life when something just doesn't go from here to there in the right way, just to let it
just to kind of
just let it dissipate. Just hey, you know, that wasn't it.
No, but it feels like family. Like when I argue with them, it's so dope because they were like, yo, what's wrong with you? I told you she not nice. She be smiling and she not really nice. And I'll be like,
well, it's usually the ones that are smiling a lot. They're not nice.
Yeah,
but being nice is still like a front.
Yeah, it's like what you put forth, right?
Yeah.
The effort that you want to put forth. Like I try to give love and I try to give like, you know, all that stuff. And then sometimes, you know, might have to catch these hands.
Yeah.
Who you giving them hands
fucking
out?
spice it. It's also
Mostly
okay to
myself.
have that spice.
Yeah.
So I'm spicy.
She's spicy.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right.
It's all good.
Yeah. Are you hurting? No.
Yeah, I feel like I am.
Really?
Yeah, I be crying for no reason.
Oh.
Like I be in a car just crying. You cry for no reason?
For sure. But I think there are just reasons unbeknownst to us. We're in a global grief, you know? It's so hard outside.
Girl,
what do you
global
mean?
Grief is a good word for a t-shirt.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you mean by global grief?
Sadness and darkness on my merch. I need people being like, wow, whatever that was on stage. Can we brighten that up? How about be gentle with your mental? So that's the shirt that I say and want to put on stuff. But I just mean, I've watched in the past few years, just in general, you know, the weight of the losses of COVID and not only, you know, just truly human loss gone, but also just in watching people kind of fracture off further. You know, and all these different ways to think about things and be, you know, mask, no mask, vax, no vax, this, no, you know, that. And
we have been through.
You know what?
And it's unrelenting. So it's like if you just continue to like watch the news cycle, I would just be daily inundated with sadness. And as like a little bleeding heart empath, I can't plug into that kind of a stream full time anymore without there being like real detriment to me, you know.
Yeah.
Just
You
don't
can
forget on like any of y'all, like where if you feel that sadness, we don't even have to critically analyze it. Just understand there are things that are swirling around us at all times, and we're picking up on the energetics of literally everything screaming out for everything.
Yeah.
So what do you do to combat that? Like if there's this constant negative energy swirling around and it's out there, what do you do to just navigate it?
Everything I can. And I say that with real clarity and conviction. You know, I've spent a lot of time with people kind of telling me over time, like, hey, here's one thing you can do to change your life. Mm-hmm. Like plug into that, plug into God, plug into this, plug into the gym, whatever it is. And I've done all those things with diligence, but I understand it to be, you know, part and parcel of the whole thing is all of it.
Yeah.
You know, so for me currently, especially in this loony job that we have and that we're pursuing, you know, I do everything from I started meditating regularly 2 years ago. And that's become
how long are you up to now? How long can you do?
20 to 45 is where I'm staying
Yeah,
in.
I used
Nigga,
to
I'm
be
up
that.
to 10.
That's all right, but that's
After that is a nap.
that's
But once
the
you
start.
stop, once
Yeah.
you stop with the meditation, like, because I got up to an hour and then I like tape it off, and now it's hard to get right back up to the thing. I got like about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and before I used to be like all in it. I would be having all these premonitions. I wouldn't want to come out of it because I saw all this stuff. It was like, you just kind of like live in that space. It's so dope. And then I don't know, it just. You know
I've
what
only-
it is? I
go
started
ahead.
fucking with somebody. Like every time I let a man inside my body, I take on some of their energy.
That's what we're talking.
And it's different.
Why's it gotta be men though?
I'm heterosexual.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. But you said
why.
it. But you made a general. You said every time I let a man.
But I don't
what
let a
if-
woman in.
I know, but I'm saying, what if it's just specific type of people? Like, what if you're just not like really looking at the type of person that you're connecting with and being like, why the fuck am I connecting with this person? What do we really have in common? Because some people think they have connection, but they're really just like those two negative things just click. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason bullies can be friends.
Right.
It's because they like that destruction. They're
Right.
both like, yo, we both connect on this thing. And probably the negative part of you, not saying like we
Yeah,
all
everybody got it, yeah.
Yeah, is probably connecting with the negative part of them.
No, I think that it's desperate, right? So I think
You're
that,
desperate.
Well,
But
I think that
y'all are two established women. Why
I
would
think
y'all
that
be desperate?
Desperate for attention, like
You
they're
get attention every fucking night.
different. I think that what happens, I don't know, you probably chime in on this, but I feel like with me, like I'll get a little, I'll feel like, damn, this is gonna take forever. Let me just grab somebody up, so at least that's taken away. I have a man, and then now I can do the rest of the things, and that's a desperate move, right? Because
Yes,
what
I
I'm
get that.
saying is, I don't want to be alone with my own thoughts and my own energy and what I got going on.
That's what keeps people also for meditation. So to try to make meditation stick for myself, because I have ADD, so like
Me too.
constantly
I
I
think
spend
everybody-
I
this is-
spend
yeah.
time in my space going, what the fuck was that 20 minutes? Like developing joke ideas, forgiving my dad, doing stuff where I'm like, that's all beneficial, but that's not the mindfulness of like the attention on your breath, which is what meditation is about.
Yeah.
But my kid sister, who teaches one of the strains of meditation that I
She do Rishi,
practice,
right?
Kundalini.
Kundalini. But I was close.
explain
I wasn't close
Kundalini
at all.
is the yoga of awareness. It's basically, it's like it's to create new neural pathways. So it's your breathing and you're doing things with your body and breath in tandem that your body and breath have never done before.
Like what?
I mean, to put it in perspective for you, I think I am drawn to Kundalini because it's so intense, and having been a 15-year alcoholic, that masochism in me is like, oh, this is fucking too much.
So
but,
what explain?
it'll be stuff like for 3 to 11 minutes at a time, we'll hold a certain kriya, which is like a body posture, and it'll be anything from like my arms up at 60 degrees like this, where you make like little antennas with your fingers, let's just say, like on this one, and then we'll do something for like 11 minutes straight. It's psychotic. Like you're just like looking at my breath, and I'm doing something called breath of fire, where I'll start to like breathe in and out of my nostrils, pumping my
stomach.
breath,
Yeah.
pumping my belly.
Yeah.
That little like,
Yeah.
but 11 straight minutes. And there's crazy ones where Carmelo will be like, this one is to scrub the subconscious. And right away I'm like, this is going to fucking blow. Like this is going to make me twitch and glitch out. But the thing I do like about that particular strain is that it's so active that the whole time you're just holding on for dear life. And then 20 minutes, 30 minutes after, for the rest of the day, rest of my life, you're like, damn, I don't know what just got shook up in that magic 8
But
ball.
you feel it got rid of
For
it?
sure it does. And
Oh,
and the
good.
beautiful thing is it's a whole thing also is to get things up and out, because as humans and reading about trauma, we just imprint and it
gotta get
stays
it out.
in us. You know, it just like it literally does. There's nothing, that's science. That's not like God. Like,
Do you read Joe Dispenza?
I'm just starting to read all that shit.
I read
I haven't read Joe
all the
Dispenza,
time.
but I watch his videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, like changing your brain. But this is the thing. with me. And I guess maybe I gotta go deep because I had hired like a lady to like get the trauma out, and she was like, we used to be standing there via
Get
Zoom.
the trauma out.
I wanted it out.
Get that trauma out.
I want
you
it
gotta
out of my
bust that traumatic
body
nut.
because it's
Beat my ass.
because you know what it is, especially if it's coming from childhood.
Yeah.
It's so deep. You like, damn, why am I operating like this? Why am I thinking like this? And it doesn't really have any factual like credence right now.
It doesn't have to.
So you know that it's coming from a childlike space because I'm not even able to rationalize it. I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, this is just how I am, which is bullshit. So I want to get it out. So I hired this lady, and she was like, your body knows, and it was like moving from the side, and I had to face north and drink water and all this stuff. But it still was there, yo, and I was paying $150 every time, yo. I was like,
$150 a session? How much were you going back?
I did it like a year.
Oh.
But I did therapy for like 8 years too, yo.
I just started that.
I've been trying
I haven't
to
done therapy yet. I did therapy as a child, and then a little bit as like early on as an adult, and I haven't really touched it again.
But what I do know is when I don't give myself what I need, I suffer.
Oh.
And what do you need?
Right. So the things that you can control, right? Hydration,
Yes.
exercise,
Yeah.
who I'm hanging around,
Yeah.
and how much stimuli I'm allowing in.
100.
So when I control that, I'm good. But when I do not control that, which is often, I'm bad.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yo, I need water. Yo, I'm dehydrated. I'm like, I'm so depressed. And I'm like, no, I'm thirsty.
Coming back to something you said, just to kind of tie that whole thing together, when you were talking about, you know, how you let men come into your life and then suddenly the things that are what you're focused on when someone is away goes to the wayside.
Yes.
I've also been 110% historically in that camp where, you know, I'd just go in, take on all their shit, become a shell of a human being to be a part of this thing, and everything I'd already had in practice would go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
every time.
But that's the one thing that I do,
man.
you know, when you're looking at Dispenza and all that and knowing like neuroplasticity is real and that we change all the cells in our bodies like once a year, and like those lies that you think in your brain, like, hey, nothing's ever changing. Bullshit. Even with our behaviors. And yes, it takes an awareness and a mindfulness in almost every moment to choose that. But over time, those habits will replace whatever the non-habits you had were. And I'm just getting better anymore about like, hey, we'll never be at a shortage of attention, no matter what we think. We're up there, we're seen, you're beautiful. You know, it's like, this isn't going to be a lack of anything coming.
But it's different attention.
Yes, but for me and for you and some others, I'm getting to the place now where I'm like, oh, if I even meet a person and we have like chemistry and I see all these things as being like A-okay, I think back to those little non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Like, hey, is this a person where if I woke up at that dude's house the next morning, I can do my meditation?
Right.
Is this a person
Can
who
you
like,
be yourself?
and I don't need
Can you still do
I
it?
don't need homie to sit next to me with another gallon jug of water like I
Right,
have.
just
or
do-
like
let me do me.
out doing all the stuff. But I like to read for like 2 to 3 hours a day, and I don't want to speak to anyone.
Yeah.
And I need to make sure that like there can't be that whatever. And I would always put those
Yeah.
little treasures.
That's why
You
I
need
like
room to
I'd
grow.
just be
That's why I
throwing my
like being by
treasures
myself
aside
now.
always. Same. I've been single for 2 years.
It's like by myself, and it's so crazy because by myself I thrive, and I'm like, I don't want to be that person, but I feel like I am that person.
But you're always going to be by yourself, even when you're with someone.
And when people say stuff like, "Oh, you're gonna die alone," everybody
dead
dies
anyway, yeah.
alone, right? Like everybody dies alone. It's very interesting because I used to do yoga all the time.
I remember when I went over to play. That's why I really brought y'all both on at the same time, because I remember like you're super spiritual, and I remember our talk when you told me your sister do Kundalini and stuff, and I was like, this would be two good people I know that don't hang out.
Right.
But yeah, you had like a whole setup in your crib.
Yeah.
But I almost stepped on it.
Yeah, my meditation.
She has like a meditation mat and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got to give yourself space. But I'm telling you, every time I meet somebody and really like them, I toss it. And then when I remember praying inside a meditation one time, and I was like, I just want you to bring somebody to me. And the spirit was like, so you could replace me? Because that's what I do every time.
Damn, dude.
God.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. I told buddies the other day.
I replace God every time because I make the person God in my life. So now I'm thinking about what they thinking, what they think about what I'm doing, what they think, and so now
I'm letting you know I feel like that's normal. Man, as a man, I go through that as well.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But you can't replace that God inside of you. And what I've
But you can't replace you. Like I hear
you.
God,
It's
and
just
I
you.
go, it's just you. It's
But it's
that
the
inner
observer.
voice. Yeah.
Because this is the thing, right? I'm reading this book called The Untethered Soul.
I was just about to say it out loud. John fucking Singer,
Yes.
dude. Read The Surrender Experiment right after. That's
Really?
another one of his.
Yeah.
And I read that at the beginning of last year, and it blew the back of my brain out and changed my comedy.
So
I'm not kidding. It's like
does-
whatever.
No,
the
I
pro-
just heard blew the back of my brain out.
It did,
That's
dude.
dope.
'Cause
But
that's what she's
usually
talking
that's
about.
a sexual thing.
Yeah.
Like, yo,
No,
hey,
but that's what we're talking
yeah.
about. You can get into those ecstatic trances of
Well,
just
first
like
of all,
knowledge coming in and being like, oh, damn, I just came.
But you
Yeah.
know what I
Oh, oh,
learned?
oh, oh.
You know what I learned? That's what heaven feels like, an orgasm. I didn't even know that. I was like, yo, I've learned that in a meditation. I
Yeah?
was like, because every time I would have sex, being that I was married for a long time, right?
How long?
How long were you married for?
17 years.
That is a long
But I was
time.
with him before that, right? So I was like with him since I was like 17,
Decades.
right?
Yeah.
So when I got to these streets, I could not emotionally have sex with somebody. Like I could have sex with them, but I would feel so bad after. I would cry. I would feel so bad because I would feel like I was betraying God and betraying all the things that like I learned at church or whatever.
Yeah. So you're on the same wavelength as Will Smith. Remember, he was like, when I would have sex, I would throw up.
Oh, I
Like,
didn't throw
said
up.
He
but
would
damn.
get like physically sick, he said.
Because he's in the closet. He like that kind of sex. Like, I'm just regular.
I'm still loving what you said though about those little gems of insight that'll drop in during meditation though. Because
So listen to what I'm saying. So I'm having a meditation and I'm talking to, and it's like, I am an orgasm. Tell me what feels better than sex on this earth.
I
Right.
know, but there's
Right.
nah.
What?
It's there are things that feel better than sex. I just can't explain. Like there's certain like when you
Peeing?
achieve something, you never thought you could achieve, like that feeling feels better than anything. And that shit, like you don't even want to let that go. When you like even something small, when you go, oh fuck, I didn't even know I could do that. That sense of accomplishment
That's
is
better than,
than
that's better than right at the orgasm space.
Yeah, but I think for the orgasm for me is that, yes, there's no greater feeling, but it's so not sustainable.
Right.
It's such a flashbang. You know what I mean? No pun intended.
It's
that
like-
it's like,
Hilarious.
Yeah.
if we could like spread that out a little more, it's like I'm trying to find those things of like happiness that are like at least going to microdose to me on a longer period of time.
Right, but you could have that.
for sure.
Yeah, you could have that. But it's still like it's like what is it called? Not tandem. What is it?
Tantric.
tantric.
That you can have a tantric life. So the experiences that he having, it is an orgasm. It's something pleasurable that he is experiencing, right? I used to think that sex was bad. It's never bad.
Yeah.
It's never bad. And then with
We're taught it's bad, but I don't even know why. You probably know why more than us, Hannah.
What?
Because I said we're taught that it's bad.
Well, we're taught that it's bad so that we won't engage in it, right? Because everything, I feel like for religion, and you should probably try, I feel like religion sells guilt, right? Guilt is this is how I feel about religion now. And I used to go to church all the time, but I feel like religion says, oh, you need to know God for yourself. You
Yeah.
need to know God for yourself. And then you're like, all right, cool. So then you start learning God for yourself. And then they be like, but God don't like that.
Is that how you know?
Yeah, but he ain't tell me that.
I told my
Yeah.
dad that
Right,
somewhat
God don't like
recently.
you. That God don't like that. God don't like that. So you're gonna have to do this, right? So now is a situation. You introduced me to Monroe,
Yeah.
and you told me to have a relationship with Monroe, and now I have a relationship with Monroe, and now you keep on chiming in
Yeah.
about the shit that you and Monroe talking about outside of me, and now I don't really trust Monroe
Yeah.
because Monroe is telling you stuff he ain't tell me, and that's religion.
Yeah.
And the reason why they keep doing that is because then you got to pay that 10%.
Yeah, it's more of a control
For
though,
sure.
because think about the people who feel like they don't have like the time to build a relationship with God. That's what church is for. Church
Yeah.
is to be like, well,
Introduce.
since you can't do it, let me
I'ma do
show
it
you.
for you.
I'm gonna do it for you because me and him have a tight relationship, and
Yeah.
now there's just this liaison, and then we give that guy this power and this respect. I bet I learned that in church immediately. It was like
I didn't.
very young. I had to go to church. I tell it on stage, but I literally, every foster home I went to, for some reason, all these motherfuckers were super religious. So I would go to church daily. Like I would wake up, go to school, come home, go to church. Go home, wake up, and it was just that thing. And you're just sitting in the back. And I never participated. Like I was never a part of any programs and all that shit because I just didn't see the benefit in it.
Right.
But I would just sit in the back of the church and I was like, something's off.
Yeah.
Like if y'all are coming here for this knowledge, why aren't y'all just practicing that shit outside of this place? Like, why do y'all keep depending on this person and make it? You know what I mean?
Some
And I'm
churches definitely
doing that
agree.
very young. Like,
I think it has to be both. Now
That's smart.
Now that I'm out and removed from that structure of it, and see God as bigger than just like apple or blueberry pie or whatever you're trying to reduce it down to. You know, I do understand even in the yogic tradition, there's the idea of Sangha, and Sangha is community. So church is actually meant in its purest form to be community.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, listen to that ding ding, tell us whatever Hail Marys to say and whatnot as an inner like accessory, like to
your
God.
father is it Catholic?
No, I wish we were Catholic. We could have got to my alcoholism faster. And
is he like a snake charmer? He's like one of those?
We didn't handle snakes, but we definitely spoke in tongues,
Yeah, I
fire
spoke
and
in tongues.
brimstone.
We grew
speak
up
in
with,
tongues.
Fire and brimstone, like, hey, say the Lord's
Same.
name in vain, touch yourself, listen to rock and roll, and you're going to burn in a bottomless hellfire.
Absolutely.
All shame, condemnation, just, you know,
Yeah.
all the
Fear.
ugly
Fear
words.
mongering.
Yeah.
But that's what I've told my dad. You know, now that I've kind of taken back the night with God a little bit, there's things that he told me that are exactly like what you said when
Yeah,
I was a
he's
kid.
good.
And I just threw some back at him recently on the farm in a very loving way, like with the heart of God, where I was like, Dad, you told me when I was small that my relationship with Jesus Christ and God is mine.
Yeah.
No one else. Because he used to tell me, because we were not Catholic, in a condemnation of the Catholic Church, Dad would be like, oh, you know, the priest, that's fine, but you don't actually need that person in between you and homie.
Right.
So I
that
really
part.
took that shit to heart.
big
And
homie,
now
right.
I'm sitting here going, Dad, I hear what you're saying, but like, stop giving Jesus to me in all these little jackets. Like, this isn't, I
But
already
maybe
know
that's
God.
the only way he knows how to serve him up.
Yes, and sometimes when you're dealing with your kids,
I cut you off, my bad.
No, you're all right.
But sometimes when you're dealing with your kids, you don't know how to help them.
And you just pass down what you know. And what you know may be even more traumatic.
Yeah.
You
And,
know
and
what I
yeah,
mean?
I look at my kids like I'm like my older one. I'm kind of glad she's getting it on her own.
How old?
She's 29.
Okay.
But now I'm looking at her.
Damn. No. But you don't look like you got a 29.
Not even
year old.
close.
Yeah.
That's why I had to ask.
I had to say damn.
I knew it.
Yeah,
I
like-
knew it.
She's 29, but like now that I talk to her without the judgment of like, you know, I have to give you money and all that stuff. Just looking at her as a person, I'm like, yo, she's mad spiritual. I'm glad she's getting it. You need that in your life. You need some kind of guidance, even if it's you, because really all the God is the observer, just observing all the nonsense that's going on, right? So I'm glad that she's getting that. I called her this morning, like all in a frenzy about some shit. And she was like, well, actually, we not us. What are you talking about? You high, bitch. What do you mean? And she was like, no, Mom, we so evolving all the time, right? Like, so if you pigeonhole me into this thing that I used to be, you'll never be able to see the new evolving me. And if I do the same thing to you. And I was like, wait, I watched this video. And this is what the video said. I'm so happy that I saw my mother turn like 50 because I was able to meet her. And the guy was like, what do you mean? She was like, my mother was who she had to be, not who she was.
Yeah.
And sometimes your dad made just what he had to be.
For sure.
Yeah.
And as we know, when we're all talking about spirituality, your daughter's, mine, yours, Monroe's, whomever, that's a seeker's path. You know, so like that's why right now it's like I'm even like having a lot more grace towards them because I'm like at the end of the day, like I even start crying thinking about my mom, my little Asian mom, coming to the Philippines, you know, being Catholic there, ending up hearing like an evangelist in her tiny little village that was like a Christian and had a school named Morris Cerullo in San Diego. And Mom was like touched enough there to be like, you know, I'm going to take that little leap of faith, go over there to a totally new place and search for God, you know? And I always looked at it in a million ways. Like, I've made jokes on stage, like, what'd you come to America for this shit, for us to land in the cornfields, you know, and all this, whatever. She was searching for God. And when that hit me, dude, I was on a microdose of shrooms, and I was just
searching for God in America.
Like, but I mean, just in general.
No, she was
I just,
searching
viewed
for
mom.
God.
I realized my mom. I'm like, oh, Hannah, be soft to her. She came over here for she's a seeker.
She was searching for God in a different way than she had always experienced him.
Completely.
Oh, wow.
And it was so wild to me because, you know, it's so easy to just look at that and be like, why did you guys do that? Like over
They
and
were
over,
kids.
you know, for sure. And they were also just they believe in something.
Yeah.
So it's like now, you know, all I can do now as an adult is understand that I can believe in stuff too. And it doesn't have to look at all or sound like what it was before.
It's not me.
Was that me? Jesus Christ, sorry.
Oh, no problem. I'm looking. I'm like,
alarm on.
Why you
where
looked
did
at me
that
though?
even- No, that
because
was
you're
me.
the
I'm
one
like,
with the meetings. So I thought it was you. My bad.
No, I'm like, Brian jumped up like, what the fuck is going
Everybody
on?
I know. I was also confused. I'm like, why is there even an alarm set? Is why I'm confused.
That's God.
That's
it
God.
was. It's reminded.
God,
I was
like it's
ting,
3
ting,
o'clock.
ting, 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 ting.
What would you be doing right now if I didn't ask you to do this podcast?
I'll
It's
still
3
be
o'clock.
working.
You still be working? You
smoking, reading, something
smoking weed?
something chill.
That's
Yeah.
so dope. Like, so how do you pay your bills?
I mean, I just comedy.
That's dope.
You just gotta jump into it.
I know.
It's difficult, but
It's just Marshalls. Yo, Marshalls be having good stuff, yo.
yeah.
You ever go in there?
I mean, look, that I hate Marshalls.
You
I hate
hate
all that shit.
Marshalls?
Yeah. Cause it's just a hodgepodge of shit, and everybody's fucking running through the racks and putting shit. It's just
That sounds good
I don't
to
like
me.
that
It's my
disorganization for a discount.
spirit. I will fight something. Dude,
I won't. I'm like-
I remember before, like, when I didn't have any money,
Yeah.
I would like go to a store and I would go look at the things that I wanted and then I would hide them. And then I would wait till I had money and come back and get them.
Now this is I know we've been deep this whole thing, and I got to continue it, but I would do the same thing, and then I'm like, I gotta rethink my relationship with like fashion and brands and shit, because I'm doing all of this for a name,
Yeah.
right? Like you're doing all of this just so you can wear that logo.
And you're going to say right now, build your own name, right?
No, fuck that. I'm like trying to get to T-shirts. I'm like just trying to get to the point where I can put anything on and it look good.
Right.
And it don't matter what it says.
I just want
or how
less
expensive
stuff.
it is. Because I went
your
through
body's
that.
so amazing, or just how you vibe?
Body, just vibe and all of that shit too. Because I went through that whole phase. You going through that phase? I went through that phase where I would do the road and come home and blow that
Yeah.
just on sneakers, jackets and all that shit. And then you got a closet full of those things, and then you still got that same feeling of like, I'm
You
fly,
need
I'm
more.
still sad.
I'm still sad too.
I'm just-
Y'all got mad
yeah.
stuff in my closet. Well, first of all, a lot of it I can't fit because I gained so much weight during the pandemic. But like, I have mad
He
stuff.
said that to you. Like,
No, I've been there.
No, I
I'm
can't-
constantly having
I
to cycle
cannot fit
through
it.
bullshit.
But the thing about it is, it's true. Like, I look at all those things. They don't bring me happiness. It
Yeah.
don't bring me joy. Like, I still have that feeling. I still cry in my car, and I'd be like,
I don't
like-
believe y'all I have not cried since I've cried once when Dave died. Not one, but Dave, my old manager, CH and stuff. I let that out, but I don't know. Like, how do y'all get to that point?
it's no
But
point.
like, besides death, like I haven't cried.
I think it's being
I always
empathic.
have.
though.
Also,
Yeah.
though.
I think
I've
that I
never
take
not
other
cried.
I think
What
that I take
gets
other
you
people's
there?
stuff, anything. Like, I don't know, like it being ignored, feeling like I'm spinning my wheels and it's not happening.
So
whatever.
frustration.
Frustration.
I can even on a happy side get like seeing like nature. I love, like viewing the ocean.
Yeah.
Starting to like climb mountains and things like that. And
You climb mountains?
I can cry like getting aesthetic goosebumps is basically what they're called. Like those moments where you feel tiny in relation to God and nature. And it can like literally just like put me into that space. But I've always been a crier. People, I cried when I got passed at the stand. I cried out, you can see me crying.
Yeah, I cry.
And you're like, man, I think
cry.
that
Y'all
bitch is
some
happy about
crybabies.
her
Yeah,
life,
I
but
cry.
she crying.
I do cry when I'm in the presence of God.
Same. It's like
I
it's,
do because
I think it's what it's supposed to be.
I feel little, and I'm like, damn, like it's so many things. And then I cry. Yeah, I do cry when it's good stuff because like comedy has changed for me. I feel so grateful that it's not like so hard. It used to be so hard. I used to be like, why did I wait so long to do this?
Same with me, mid-30s.
And now I feel like,
Wait, how old are you now then?
I'm about to turn 40 this year, and I started at
Y'all look
34.
young as
I've been
shit.
6 years in
Yeah.
comedy.
so, and I
I
waited
think
so
that's
long.
the best time to start though.
Yeah, when you have a story.
Yeah, when you're not even when you have a story, just when you have a more sense of self. I started at 21, and a lot of that time was just, I guess, I'd say it's useful because that's what your youth is for, right? Your youth is
Learning.
for you to fucking just run around and like put your body to the limit. So I'm just like going to different states on mega buses and shit. You know what I mean? But I didn't really have nothing to talk about or anything like that. I'm trying to talk to these adults and come off like an adult. But once I got older, I'm like, oh, I know how to connect because I'm an adult. I'm one of you.
Right.
And I think that's like one of the benefits of starting when you're older is that you go, look, I was in the workforce. I know we all go through the same shit,
Right.
and you're established as an adult. Versus like when you're young, you're just kind of shucking and jiving and being like, look how creative I am. Look how intelligent and this. And now that I'm older, I don't
Looking
give
for
a fuck.
acceptance.
For sure.
Yeah.
Even just being in the green room at the stand, I'm overwhelmed. You know, that's like
Yeah,
a dream
still?
club for me. A little bit. I get
Yeah.
nervous, but even being an extrovert, I love my age in there now because I can just sit quietly in that green room and not have to clog up the air, let people ask me questions if they feel like, but overall just be fine to sit there and be. Like the other day, there was one of the comics and he was just running his dumb mouth over
Always
and over,
happens.
of course. And I just, mindless chit chat like anything else.
Yeah.
But eventually, I just like looked at him after about 40 minutes of this nonsense just bubbling out of him, and I'm like, "Homie, how old are you?"
Yeah.
Because I had to know,
Like
and he was like
27.
26 or
Yeah.
whatever, and I just like immediately started to smile, and I could see him look at me like that can't be the thing, but I'm looking at him like, "Nah, you're just. I mean, you might not grow out of this, but this is also like." That's 14 years ago for
Yeah.
me. The way you're just like wanting to roast people and grasping for straws and all those things. So like a lot of the things that I find where I'm the same way where I'm like, damn, dude, I've been funny since I was a kid. I thought about doing comedy forever.
Oh, not me. I didn't think about doing comedy.
But
What
I just
brought
started.
y'all both into it? Like, if you've been thinking about it since a kid, and you started like basically 30, what made you just make that jump? What was the fuck it switch that you flicked on?
I got out of yet another shitty relationship.
Okay.
And I had one of these moments where I was like, bitch, you really spent this whole time thinking you're funny? Why don't you go put your money where your mouth is and see if all this time, this could be a way for you to feel a little looser and be just exactly kind of who you are on default.
Yeah.
And then 6 years later, I'm still at it. But that was
Dope.
kind of just like the little push in.
Yeah. What about you, Onika?
I always wanted to be an actress. Like, and you could tell the stuff that you want to do because the jealousy that you feel when you see people doing it.
Oh, fucking
Shit is
hate
so
that.
dope. No, that shit is dope.
I know, but
Jealousy
it's- I
shows you what you
know, I
want.
know.
Yeah.
Like, that shit is so necessary. You be like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is exactly what I want, right?
Healthy jealousy, right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
it ain't. Well, everybody got their own shit. Like, what's for them is for them. It don't matter if I hate on it or not. It's
Yeah.
theirs. It's
Yeah.
theirs. So it don't matter. And so I always wanted to be an actress, but I was working. I had my kids and stuff, and a single mom. I was like, I ain't be able to do this because acting, the auditions are in the daytime. You know what I'm saying? And so I was taking them to school. They went to gifted and talented school, so whatever. So once they got bigger, I was like, well, what am I supposed to do for me? And I just did a comedy class on a whim. I was like, I'm gonna just see.
Where, Gotham? Or-
Yeah, it was at Gotham. It was
Yeah.
no, it wasn't. It was at the Cellar.
Oh, okay.
It was Rick Chrome's one.
Oh, okay. I know
And I
that.
took it and I was like, I'm writing comedy. I'm helping all the people in the class. We doing stuff on the side. I'm like, I like this a lot. And then I did the showcase. And then I was like, you know what? This is my shit. Like, this is the thing that I can't stand behind anybody. If I fuck it up, it's me.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that I didn't have to be the supporting actress, supporting all my friends, supporting all my family. It was just me. And that's why I love it so much. Even with acting, because sometimes I act and stuff. And you remember you had me do that class and shit. And even with acting, you get to play off somebody. You know what I'm saying? It's like you get to, but stand up, you standing there. You better figure
just
this
you.
shit out. It is just you, and I love that part of it.
The way I was, my expression, I was just picturing myself hosting the other night upstairs in that tiny room, and I was like, yeah, it felt like just me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
just
That's
you.
the best part about
Hey,
it, though.
this is it.
part.
It's the
I know,
truth.
it is. It
Can't
is.
hide
It's the truth. Is like you're up there, and it's just like, are you funny or not?
or not.
That's
And that's
it.
the goal.
And
And
even
you
if you're
know what the
not.
goal
Yeah.
is. It's like the goal is, are you funny?
Yeah.
And then once you get to the funny, then you're like, whoa, what am I saying with this funny?
Mm-hmm.
Am I just clowning, or am
Yeah.
am I gonna speak for some people?
Yeah.
And so
or you
now-
going to speak for yourself, not even for some people.
But I
Just-
feel like
yeah.
you speak for yourself, but I feel like you speak for those that come behind you that don't have the microphone. There's so many people that have this experience that you have, and that's how they connect. Or you get to speak for them. Oh, this guy is from Philadelphia. He is mad tall. And what is that about? And why is he so intellectual? And how, oh wow, I never met anybody that, you know, was in foster care. What is that? Like you get to speak for them. Like, no, they're very intelligent. And you can come out and it's you the hope.
Yeah.
You hope for some little kid that's being shuffled around. And you're like, damn, Monroe could do it.
See, I never looked at it like that. I never looked at it as I'm a representative for anyone else besides me. Not in a selfish way, like fuck everybody, but it's more of like, if I'm doing me, then I hope that it helps other people be them. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I just want to find an outlet to express myself.
But there's
And,
a
like,
reason why
yeah.
your journey, your path was the one it was. It's a reason why we dealt with those difficulties. It's a reason why, right? So as you free you get to free other people
Man.
every time.
And I believe in reincarnation, so I'm like looking at this whole blip, like this is actually pretty small in like the grand scheme, but that's why I'm like preparing myself.
good. I don't wanna do
for
this
like
again.
but for something.
I'm not being reincarnated.
No,
Fuck
I just
that.
mean I don't
I'm
think
chilling.
we'll ever be coming back to the earth. Is the
Oh,
thing.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
leave
not.
me
I am
alone.
good.
And when they
I
tap
did
me,
it.
when they die, they're like, hey,
I'm
you want
gonna-
to go back? Like, nigga,
yes.
I'm napping. I'm sleeping. Leave me
No,
alone.
when they
Yeah.
come, when God be like, I'm gonna be like, all right, cool, let's roll.
I'm
Let's
somewhere
roll.
in between the two of you, though, as far as like where you feel on stage or where I'm starting to be with, you know, thinking about what it is that I'm saying and doing. Because, you know, when, like you were saying, at first, and I think about this often, where I remind myself, this is only at the end of the day for me. So make sure that let's just start there, like you were talking about. This is just our truth. We can say it. And then if we manage to resonate on top of it, dope.
Yeah.
Right.
But there are some of us, like you're talking about, where over 6 years, I didn't come into comedy to be some kind of fucking role model. In fact, I would prefer that everyone just kind of like let me say my stuff and then, you know, let's
Yeah.
all go back to it. However, that's not the case. And now we're in a place where, you know, as a mixed kid, you know, from Cornfields, Indiana, in a place where, in a world where still representation is growing, but it's not great, you know, I realize no matter how I feel or why I took that stage, there still will be human beings that can
Yeah.
intersect my light and take really something joyful from it.
Yes.
So if I have that heart and we're sitting here talking about praying, chewing on God, being whatever, yeah, I don't have to change the world from that stage, but maybe if I got something uplifting and, you know, I see y'all hang in there and funny, I'll go ahead
But you
and just
change
like,
your world, though.
yeah.
You change the world that you are occupying in that moment. You do change it every time.
Yeah, but I don't think that's her goal. Like,
doesn't
I don't
have to
go
be.
up there being like, I want.
Because you don't want to think like that. You want to be in the moment.
Yeah.
Who wants to think like I'm?
Like, I'm saying this because y'all need to hear it. Like,
Well,
I'm
you
saying,
can
I
tell
always
some of
go.
our peers feel like that.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, buddy, did you just listen to something and then now
Yeah.
you're putting that out to us? Like I
Yeah.
have the same internet, you know, like
You'd be like, we saw the video, yo. We good.
Yeah.
And I have a friend like that. Like we would go to church, and then she would send us exactly what the pastor said. We heard the same shit. You didn't make that up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then when I realized, when I started reading like self-help books and stuff about the mind and stuff about religion, Pastor didn't make that up either. You read that shit too.
All of it.
All of it.
It's all been passed down. The ancients basically had it all worked out.
I was like, he's genius. How does he know this stuff?
No, you're right.
Whenever people quote someone, I always take whoever that person is and start there. And then I will go through their reading and see who they quote. And then I'll go into that. And then I'll go back even further because it's like all of this,
It's
has
all
been
the
like.
same thing.
There's an ancient transmission that's been coming down the pipeline that we're
knew.
applying all kinds of modern mechanics and verbiage to. But at the end of the day, like you can just kind of get back into those.
Have you read the Tao Chi?
Hold on.
I've got it, but I haven't read it yet.
Okay.
All right. We gotta wrap it up so we can go on to the next part. But this has been a really good conversation. We kind of just like started off and then like I had a bunch of questions that I'm gonna just ask on the next part. And the next part is the Patreon, people. So make sure that you subscribe to the motherfucking Patreon if you want to hear the rest of this conversation. Because this shit is good. It's good. Make sure you follow Hannah and make sure you follow Onika. Thank you for listening.